Hello, 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 my friends. We are into a full month and maybe a little bit more of sugar. We're diving into the sweet life and discovering all that we can about sugar and its greatness and its sweetness and everything that we can. So I'm really hoping that you'll join us. Hey there, beautiful. I'm so glad you stopped by. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of More Than Hope podcast, where we will openly discuss how to find that wonderful, radiant, vivacious goddess that you once knew and bring her back to life. I'm Wendy, holistic nutritional consultant, and I know we're going to be best friends because I know that it takes more than just hope and the occasional carrot to reach your heart's desire. And I want to help by offering you real solutions because, after all, you're a real woman dealing with real issues in the real world. Let's face it, life can be tough sometimes. Heck, our own inner voice can be our own worst enemy, and it's hard to get out of our heads and see the reality of life. But when we have someone to turn to, someone to lean on, someone who has our backs and gets us, life can be a little easier. We smile more, we laugh more, we appreciate life more. I'm here to tell you that I am that someone. I'm on your side. And truth be known, I love you. So grab your carrot and let's get started. So we're talking about sugar addiction today, and I'm so glad that you've come back and you're joining us. Food addictions can lead to obesity and complications such as diabetes and high blood pressure. This is not new news. Unfortunately, when people think about their health as it relates to food, they rarely think about sugar as being one of the core issues. They think about sugar as an addiction even less. If you're concerned about yourself or a family member and know or suspect that sugar addiction may be at the core cause of these issues, please reach out to your doctor, therapist, or even reaching out to me because we can really get to the bottom of things. But today we're going to go over a few things and understand what sugar addiction is, how it affects the brain, and some of the dangers that can really result from having a lifelong addiction to sugar. So when we're looking at addiction, we're really talking about the brain. And when we're talking about sugar, obviously that's food. So the first thing to know about sugar addiction is how the brain works on sugar. It truly becomes a battlefield of the brain versus food. Eating sugar releases opioids and dopamine into the body. Those are the feel-good hormones that, we all have experienced. And this is the link between added sugar and the addictive behavior. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that is a key part of the reward circuit associated with addictive behaviors. When a certain behavior causes an excess release of dopamine, you feel that pleasurable high that you are inclined to re-experience. You're going to want to feel that over and over again. So repeat behavior of that is likely to happen. As you repeat that behavior more and more, your brain adjusts to release less dopamine. The only way to feel that same high as before is to repeat that behavior in increasing amounts and frequency. This is known as substance misuse. They say that sugar can be even more addicting than cocaine. And you've ever tried to get off of sugar, you know that it is very, very difficult. But the thing is, and I'm going to repeat this a couple of times, is that it's not your fault. When sugar activates the opioid centers of the brain and affects that reward center, it can lead to a compulsive behavior, despite the negative consequences like weight gain, headaches, hormonal imbalances, and more. So essentially, what I'm saying here is that it's not your fault. It's not your fault. I don't know how often I can say that to really help you understand that it's not your fault. Every time we eat sweets, we are reinforcing those neural pathways, those pathways to the brain, causing the brain to become increasingly hardwired to crave more sugar, building up a tolerance like any other drug. And it's not like that we can just walk away, go to rehab, or go cold turkey with food. We have to survive. We have to eat to survive. And in the process, attend birthday parties, go for coffee and drinks with our friends, or on a date with your special somebody. Most things that we do involve food. That's just who we are as people, as human beings. We need food. And most food has some form of sugar in it. And nowadays, with the crazy sad diet, standard American diet, processed foods, takeout, everything else like that, it's such convenience foods, it has more sugar in it than we actually know. And this is going to be another podcast where we talk about hidden sugars. But like I said, we're going to talk about that later. So sugar actually provides you with a sense of false energy as well. So the truth is, momentarily convenient boost, which is quickly taken away with the crash. That crash can leave you feel tired, and it may also leave you with a migraine or lightheadedness, which is just no fun. The crash is hard to get over, and in some cases can leave you with no alternative but to end your day and to get some rest, or to even have another boost of sugar, which is that on again, off again, up, down roller coaster that sugar does provide. We can actually even get too stimulated with sugar as well, too. I know for a fact that my husband, who enjoys his sweets, is addicted to chocolate and sweets. And if he has too many in the evenings, he cannot sleep properly. It affects his body to the point where he'll have less restless legs. He'll feel jumpy and anxious, and actually ends up acting like a little kid for the most part. Keeps me awake the rest of the night as well too. But it is a very significant shift in his person, when in his physical body as well too, when you see the reaction. And I asked him, I said, did you have a couple of chocolate bars? Because if he's acting a certain way, I definitely know that he has had some sugar or dessert after his meal. And this again ties directly to the release of the dopamine, more than how the brain actually reacts to it. Your nerves, your cells, your body system as a whole become used to the sugar, and they begin to crave it after a while, which makes your body feel like the only way that you can get a boost is through sugar again and again, over and over again. So these are only a few of the signs and key points of sugar addiction. However, these are the most common ones, and most of the common ones that we see every day. The good news is that they can easily, maybe not so easily, but they can be reversed by lowering sugar intake and noticing your sugar levels throughout the day. But I'm going to be talking about a little bit more about addiction and how we can actually know if we're actually addicted. I mean, some people do have physical reactions to the body, like I was explaining with my husband. Other people, not so much, like it's not so evident in their lives. But if you're somebody that actually hides your sugar habit, so some people with a sugar addiction may recognize that they're eating too much, but instead of finding ways to cut back on it, they actually hide it. They make excuses, making deals with themselves concerning the sweets and desserts. And this can be a very big sign of an addiction, because, I mean, nobody hides broccoli in their closet. I mean, come on. If you're hiding sweets or sneaking them away, this is, a pretty good sign that you might be addicted to sugar. And as with any addictive behavior or substances, your tolerance to sweets may build over time. So you're going to be hiding and keeping, like if you're somebody that knows that you bought some sweets or a nice treat in the house, but you know that everybody else is going to eat it before you get a chance to have some, you're going to hide that away because you know that you want to eat it, or you eat it all because you don't want anybody else to have it. These are kind of indications that are very much indicative of an addictive behavior. So if you eat sugar even when you're not hungry, so again, after a big meal, if you're stuffing yourself and you're finding that you're still going for something sweet after your meals, that you are physically not hungry for it and you still want to have that sweet, this is an addiction. Always craving sweets. So after a sugar binge, your blood sugars will fall because insulin pushes the sugar into cells to prevent sugar damage. That fall causes low blood sugar, which causes more cravings. It's a very cyclical thing, so it's going to go around and around and around all the time. even if you're craving salty foods, this is another point that could be a situation where you're very addicted to sugars. Craving salts are one sign that the body is not getting the nutrients that it might need. And this is surprisingly common among those who are addicted to sugar foods as well. So cravings for salty food and savory foods is one way that the body might be telling you that you need a break from sugary foods and eat something nutritious. And if you eat too much salty foods, you might find yourself craving sugary foods or simple carbs. The key here is balance. So eating foods that are rich in the micronutrients and macronutrients that your body needs to function and thrive. But there's more. So if you try to quit and have very unusual symptoms, so this can be another indication that you are addicted to sugar. Sugar addiction can be both a behavioral addiction, where you get used to eating sugar after meals or certain times of the day. That's a very habitual thing. And it can also be a chemical addiction. So when you quit or interrupt your normal schedule, your body may show signs of distress or withdrawal. So quitting sugar too abruptly can cause your body to have withdrawal symptoms. Some of the most common sugar addiction symptoms may include headaches, lethargy or feeling tired, cravings, muscle pain, nausea, bloating, and even insomnia. In some cases, these symptoms intensify after 24 hours. And the best way to give up sugar is slowly, by cutting back a little bit of sugar over time. When I do detoxes with a lot of my clients, this is something that I really emphasize quite a bit, because it's not something that you can go today having sugar and then tomorrow and expect for the next 7 days to go without. You really should work up to it, and it should be kind of a 2 or even 3 week process, depending upon how many times or how much sugar you take in. It is something that should be done over a long period of time, because it's going to hurt. And I mean, I've done it, so it's coming from experience. Another way that sugar can actually, you might notice that sugar is an addiction in your life, is that you use sugar to soothe. So as we have behavioral addiction, so that habitual addiction, and a chemical addiction, we can also have a psychological addiction. So if you're craving something sweet after a breakup or a sad movie or a bad day, this is a ding, ding, ding situation where you're going to maybe, there might be an issue here. And this includes wine, to my wine friends. So, if you're craving that glass of wine essentially is sugar. This is that addictive property again. If you're coming home and you just need that glass of wine before you can do anything else the rest of the evening. Indulging in sugar can acquire such emotional relief. To acquire such an emotional relief is unhealthy, as it doesn't allow the individual, or it doesn't allow you to feel the emotions or deal with them properly. So you're using food as an escape mechanism to not really deal with what's going on in front of you. And I get it, because there's a lot of crap going on in the world. There's a lot of stuff that we're dealing with. Even if you're dealing with life stressors, that's enough. But, there's also boredom, there's psychological issues such as depression, anxiety. These are all different things that need to be addressed with a psychologist and your therapist, but definitely something that you should look into if you find that you are really using sugar to soothe those emotions. Another indicator that you might be addicted to sugar is that you know the potential consequences and eat sugar anyways. So if you eat sugar and junk food compulsively, even though you realize the negative consequences of those actions. Recently, I had put out a post on Facebook inviting people to join my private Facebook group, because we were doing a whole month of No Sugar November. And I had a lot of comments coming back. Some people were like, yes, I'm going to join. Hell yeah, I need this. Other people were like, heck no, I'm not going to be doing that. Why would I want to give up sugar? It's the best thing. We all know nowadays that sugar is not the best thing for us, but we still go towards it. We still abuse it. We still, if you're addicted to it, we still need it. It's that denial situation. So this is another indicator of addiction. So another indicator, you go out of your way to get sugar. So if you've ever gone in your pajamas to the corner store in the middle of the night to get an ice cream or a chocolate bar or a bag of chips, this could be an indicator, just saying, like, this is not normal behavior. So one of the last ones is that you have feelings of guilt about eating sugar. And this is something that I really struggle with a lot of my clients, because we do know the consequences. We do understand how detrimental sugar can be to our system. But so we dive into this guilty feeling. And this, again, can be one of those round and round and round situations where we eat and we feel guilty, but then we feel bad, so we eat more to feel better. And this can really lead to and be associated with eating disorders. So again, seeking out your doctor or your therapist with regards to that, and really getting yourself some help. About twice or three times a year, I hold a mastermind intensive that includes like a 12-week weekly group session where we have my program is Master Your Relationship with Food, and it really helps to get to the root cause of eating issues, help you to recover and move forward instead of allowing food and your uncontrollable impulses to slowly poison your body, because we do know that food can be quite dangerous to the body. Not food, sugar can be quite addictive and dangerous to the body. So I'm just going to go into two of the top ones of dangers that sugar can do to the body. This is not by no means something that's definitely going to happen to you, because again, we are all different. We all have different paths. We all have different journeys. We all have different biological makeup. So these are just two of the more common situations that cause dangers as a result of sugar in the body. So hypertension is one of the big ones. And it can really be classified as severely dangerous as a result of sugar addiction. Fructose sugar, so sugar, high fructose corn syrup. Fructose sugar is something that is found in fruit, but when I'm saying fructose sugar here, I'm talking about the sugar that has been processed and has been taken out of the fruits and honey and chemically changed. So fructose sugar elevates uric acid. Other things also elevate uric acid too, but fructose sugar is one of those ones. And this is one of the reasons why we stay away from high fructose corn syrup. And uric acid in the blood or in the body drives up blood pressure by inhibiting nitric oxide, so NO, in the blood vessels. NO is regarded as an important vasodilator, so that's opening up the vessels in our blood for our blood to flow through better, and it actually helps to maintain the elasticity of our blood vessels as well. So if we have too much uric acid in our system as a result of too much fructose sugar, then this nitric oxide is suppressed, and this leads to high blood pressure. So high blood pressure can result in heart attacks, strokes, and circulation issues throughout the body. It can also cause your blood vessels to become smaller and narrower, which affect the entire body and blood flow throughout it. By reducing just small amounts of sugar, for example, omitting sugary drinks, you can avoid this danger and reduce your risks. Notably, one of the best diets for hypertension is called the DASH diet. Dietary approaches to stop hypertension, which was brought about by Dr. Dean Ornish, and his amazing effects and amazing results that he's gotten with a lot of his cardiovascular clients. So this diet basically emphasizes whole fruits and vegetables. And I'm going to talk in excess about fruits and vegetables because a lot of people, especially my keto people, are very much afraid of fruit. And this is, in my opinion, there's going to be a lot of different opinions out there, but in my opinion is one of those important things that you cannot take out of your diet. It is so very important. The DASH diet emphasizes a lower fat diet, essentially, while decreasing sugar as well, too. But whole fruits, and vegetables, low dietary fat, low dairy fat, yogurts, whole grains, so your complex carbs, legumes and nuts, while lowering your amounts of meat, because meat is one of those, even the leanest cuts of meats, you're still going to get fat in it. It's one of the biggest contributors to saturated fat. Sweetened beverages, obviously, you're going to cut out a lot of those. And this has really helped to reduce your blood pressure significantly. So I'm going to leave a link to Dash Diet in the show notes for you to look at that a little bit further. Combined data from over 24 nutrition studies show that while sugar-sweetened drinks are linked to elevated blood sugar levels, healthier foods that contain some sugars do not share the same relationship. In fact, many have protective association when it comes to blood pressure, and this is according to the University of Toronto researchers. Sugar-sweetened beverages were linked with a 10% increase in blood pressure, which is also known as hypertension, like we talked about. And in review, they pooled results from over 900,000 participants in the study. Fruit, small amounts of 100% fruit juice, and dairy, and whole grains with moderate amounts of added sugar all showed some protective association with hypertension, as the researchers had found. I am not advocating for any added sugar at all with my clients, but I do 100 million% advocate for fruit for people to take in as a diet. I don't believe specifically in taking away a food group. You're still going to get the sugars that you need for energy, brain health, and all this other metabolism mechanisms that are going on in the body. You need energy. This is just how the body works. So you cannot decrease and eliminate all sugars in your body. So you do need some natural sugars. But, when we take away sugar and fat combos, this is another situation altogether. And it really, really is beneficial for the body. So another big impact on the body is blood sugar levels and hormone levels. So this is where we're getting into the enjoyable insulin resistance kind of situation, which is a precursor for so many other issues as well. So it's well known that eating sugary food significantly raises your blood sugar levels. This kind of goes hand in hand. So enjoying a sweet food infrequently isn't likely to harm your health. So, just indulging once in a while, but daily consumption of large amounts of added sugar can lead to chronically elevated blood sugar levels. And prolonged elevated blood sugar levels, known as hyperglycemia, can cause serious harm to the body, including weight gain. And one way that hypoglycemia leads to weight gain is through promoting insulin resistance. Insulin is actually a hormone produced by the pancreas that moves sugar from the blood into cells, where it can be used for energy. Insulin is also involved in energy storage, telling the cells where to store the energy as either fat or glycogen, the storage form of glucose, and that's usually stored in the liver. Insulin resistance is when the cells stop responding properly to insulin. They just don't listen anymore, which leads to elevated blood sugar and insulin levels in the blood because they just don't have a place to go. They just start hanging out in the blood and circulating throughout. High blood sugar levels impair normal cell function and promote inflammation. So inflammation alone is one of those things that I could probably do a whole series on because it is, again, one of those core causes of so many other issues that go on in our lives these days. But for now, inflammation, which can increase insulin resistance further by through this destructive cycle. So again, it goes around and around and around. Though cells become resistant to insulin's effects on blood sugar intake, they remain responsive to the hormone's role in fat storing. So, which means that the fat storage is increased. This phenomenon is known as selective insulin resistance. This is why insulin resistance and high blood sugar are associated with increased body fat, specifically in the belly area. Additionally, To throw another curveball in here, high blood pressure levels and insulin resistance interfere with leptin. So leptin is a hormone that plays a major role in energy regulation. And it including calorie intake and burning and fat storage. So leptin decreases hunger and helps to reduce food intake. Likewise, high sugar diets are associated with leptin resistance, which increases appetite and contributes to weight gain and excessive body fat. Going back to what I said earlier, it's not your fault. So the bottom line here, interfering with your hormones, increasing hunger, and displacing healthy foods are just a few of the ways that added sugars can lead to weight gain. Aside from causing you to put on excessive body fat, eating too much sugar, too much added sugar, can significantly increase your risk for chronic conditions such as obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. If you want to reduce added sugars in your diet to avoid weight gain and improve your overall health, you'll have to do some work. There's just no two ways around it. You really have to educate yourself. You have to get some help. You have to be in the right frame of mind. You have to want to get rid of the added sugar and really want to get your health back on track. Like I said, you want to learn where those sugars are coming from. You're going to want to get help. So you're going to seek out a therapist, a doctor, or someone like myself, a holistic nutritionist, who can really give you the help that you need. You have to understand that it's not all or nothing. So again, when you're trying to get away from sugar, it's not that you have to give up sugar altogether all the lifetime. You just need to decrease the amount to get your body back into balance, and then you and figure out a healthy relationship with that sugar, and carry forward from there, because who wants to really give up the sweet things in life, metaphorically or physiologically? We don't want to. It's a pleasurable thing in our lives, but we're at a point where we're addicted to it, and we have to conquer that addiction. So I want to give you an opportunity to grab a free guide that I have, which is Kick Your Cravings to the Curb. It's a guide that you can find in the show notes. Pick that up and take a look at it, and give yourself an opportunity to see a different point of view when it comes to sugar and how you are relating to sugar. You want to try to understand that this is a process, and it won't happen overnight. Like anything within the holistic world, it is going to take some time. You have to give the body a chance. Those cocaine-like addictive reactions that you're going through are going to be tough, and it is, depending upon where you are in the beginning or where you're starting from, it's going to take a little bit of time, and that's just the reality of it. But you can do it, and it is something that is very, very doable. And again, starting from the frame of mind of it's not your fault, because again, we have been brought up in a society that rewards love with food, and we are given treats as children that are sweet. And I mean, I'm guilty as anybody. We go to visit our grandkids, and what do? We bring some little Timbits with us. And I kind of shake my head. I can't tell Pepper not to do this, even though I do, but he doesn't listen. But it's telling children that we love them through food, and that's a wrong message that we want to start off our children with. But this is what we've actually learned as children ourselves. So we relate sweetness and birthday events with birthday cake, one of the sweetest things out there. These are all things that we have to make adjustments to for our health, depending upon how much we want to shift our health towards a better way of being, and really make a shift in the potential for disease process down the road. So like I said, pick up the guide, Kick Your Cravings to the Curb. If you want to take it a step further, I have a sugar cleanse, 7-day sugar cleanse that you can grab. I'll leave notes. I'll leave a link to that in the show notes as well. And then, stay tuned, because I do have that masterclass, Mastering Your Relationship with Food. It's a very exclusive masterclass that I only hold a couple times a year. I believe the next one will be coming up in February sometime, but stay tuned, and we will have lots of announcements with regards to that. And it's something that can really make a big, big difference in your life. So like I said, these are some of the more common dangers with regards to sugar addiction, but there's a lot of other things that you should be considering. And if you feel that you or your family members have that sugar addiction, really consider taking the steps to reduce the sugar content in your life on a daily basis. Know that it's going to take time. Know that you have to have baby steps with regards to it, because to really implement a new habit, not having a sweet after dinner, or having fruit after dinner as opposed to having a different type of sweet, taking really baby steps on your journey. Oh, my beautiful friend, how are you doing? Was that episode helpful, inspiring, empowering for your journey? I'd love to know what you thought. You can head over to iTunes, the More Than Hope podcast, and subscribe and give me a review, because this is going to help me to tailor these episodes to what you need most. Like I said, I'm here to help. In the meantime, you can find me on social media at Nutritional Solutions by Wendy on Instagram, and Wendy Humphris Nutritional Solutions on Facebook. The best place to find me is at my website, though, www.whnutritionalsolutions.com. Every month I have a theme where I give away downloadables and other great free stuff. This is happening all the time because that's what I like to do. Also, don't forget to sign up for my newsletter and other great opportunities, because if you like my podcast, you're going to love all the crazy offers I have too. Until then, know that you embody everything that is good in this world. Love yourself deeply, and the world of possibilities will open up to you. I promise. Big love always, Wendy.